Welcome to the Power of Offense with Keith and Rodney. And today we're going to discuss these six executive orders that was issued by President Joe Biden against the Second Amendment. Yes, we are. Now, what you think about that, Rodney?
Yeah, it depends on what the orders are saying, and whether or not it's with the spirit of that amendment as it was written in the Federalist Papers.
Right. Now I'm gonna tell you something funny, Rodney, because now as everyone can see, we have an article up from Politico, right? And it says Biden lays out executive orders to curb international embarrassment of gun violence, right? Now, this part right here, I find very interesting, and I think this is a topic of discussion during this video. But it says that the president said that no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. All right, so this is what Joe Biden said, right? No amendment to the Constitution is absolute. Now it says President Joe Biden on Thursday announced a slate of executive actions to curb what he called an epidemic of gun violence across the country, while again urging the Senate to take up a cluster of House-passed gun reform bills. At an event in the White House Rose Garden, Biden, joined by Vice President Kamala Harris and Attorney General Merrick Garland, argued that nothing in his administration's proposal in any way impinges on the Second Amendment. So that's what he's saying, right? Now, again, he says no amendment. Now, I want to highlight this because I think this is important right here, Rodney, because I want to test what he's saying. He says that no amendment to the Constitution is absolute, decrying the phony arguments from those who suggest Americans' fundamental right to bear arms is at stake. So this is what he's saying, right? Then he also says the idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic. Let me say it again. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic, and it's an international embarrassment. Now, I got to say this, Rodney, because again, I want to test what he says about the that no amendment in the Constitution is absolute. And I have a definition for absolute out of Black's Law Dictionary. Now, out of Black's Law Dictionary, the second edition, right here says, what is absolute? And absolute is something that is unconditional, final, complete, and without any restrictions or conditions. So Joe Biden is saying that there's no amendments in the Constitution that are unconditional, final, complete, and without any restrictions or conditions. That's what he's saying. Now, again, hey, Rodney, I want to test this. Right? So I have a case. All right. I have a case that I want us to cover briefly that tests what he's saying. Now, I'm curious to your opinion about what he's saying initially before I pull the case up.
It can go. One, I think he's lunching, and two, he could be right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He could be right, but I don't think in the like the depths of what he's saying that he's correct. You know, you can make an argument that what he's saying is correct, but I don't think his motive for what he's doing is in the spirit of what the Constitution is. That's what I'm saying, because he's saying it's that the Constitution is not absolute, and he's right. Why? Because you can make an amendment to it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? So you can make an amendment to it, which is a condition,
right,
that can be done. So is he trying to do something without Congress input? Right. You know, is he trying to become a total authoritarian and just say, I'm gonna pass these laws, and damn what Congress job is and what the Supreme Court job is. I'm doing this because I'm saying that it's an epidemic. So he's saying gun violence is an epidemic. We're saying that the reasons why people are using the guns are epidemic, not the gun violence in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? Because a person that buy a gun, what makes that person snap out and want to just shoot up a whole bunch of people that he don't know unless he's a terrorist or something like that. So what condition in his life that the United States created that made him say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take this joint and do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Then they trying to reach back on the Second Amendment in order to remove the power of the people to check the government. We already can't outgun the government. If you take the military out, we still can't outgun the police. You know, but at the same time, I think he's going too far in a way that people are buying into this misguidance. You know, I think what he's doing is misguiding the people.
Right. Now, I'm gonna tell you what's funny about what you're saying. I'm gonna tell you what's funny about it, man. And I want to lay this out there for all of our listeners, but just the brilliance of you, Rodney, because the way you broke that down to me was spot on. Like, I don't believe what he's saying is in good faith. However, he is right. And it's funny because you haven't seen this case law that I have. You haven't seen it. I'm letting everyone know Rodney has not seen it. But Rodney was spot on what he said. Joe Biden may be right with what he's saying, right? That the amendments in the Constitution are not absolute. Now, personally, I didn't like it when he said it. I didn't. However, I'm like this. I found a case that support what he's saying. Now, I don't think his movement as far as the executive orders are in good faith, and I do think that he has a plan, right? The far left has a plan to impinge on our Second Amendment right to bear arms. I do believe that. However, he's right in what he's saying, that no amendment in the Constitution is absolute, and I'm gonna prove it to everybody right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna prove it. And that joint was funny, Rodney. You actually was spot on, man. Now, this case right here is from 1905. All right, it's Jacobson versus Massachusetts, and it was issued by the Federal Supreme Court, 197 U.S. 11. So again, this case is from 1905. Now, we're not going to read the entire case. We want to get straight to the point. Now, at some point, Rodney, I do want us to revisit this case. And the reason I do is because this case deals with vaccinations. Vaccinations is the topic here. And
send that note to me.
Yeah. I think we need to discuss this entire case at some point because of the pandemic dealing with the virus right now. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you know, two states, Texas and Florida,
mm-hmm.
they vetoed a law proposing that everybody got to have a vaccine, right? The governor said, man, y'all crazy. Vaccines are optional. You know what I'm saying? They're not mandatory. That's an infringement on their rights. You know what I'm saying? Those are only two so far state governors that kind of buck this whole idea that you have to have an ID to show that you're vaccinated, or you can't do this, you can't do the other, you can't do it. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because if everybody in there is vaccinated, right? And I'm not, according to their research, I don't give a fuck what I got. You're not gonna catch it because you're immune.
Supposed to catch it, yeah.
You know, according to the research of the vaccine, period.
Right.
So why are they trying to hold commerce and freedom over our head about this vaccine and this ID? You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So people are saying, well, I took the vaccine. I didn't have nothing happened to me. I might have a little pain in my arm for a day or so, and blah blah blah. I ain't had no effects. Will show me any type of disease that or any type of virus or any type of issue of this type that acted immediately.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Shit happens. That's why when they come back 10, 15 years later and say, hey, if you took Johnson talcum powder, you know, you're done. You know what I'm saying? We all use Johnson talcum powder for years. But after 30-something years, then they come with the risk. So that's the same thing that the vaccine. They put the vaccine. Of course, they're not going to put nothing in it that's going to allow you to blow up right then and right there, because they can't trick everybody. But over time, and then they can blame other things, your habits, your lifestyle, your diet, your this, your that, to, you know what I'm saying, to justify
to minimize the damages that they got to pay later.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So it's I'm kind of proud of those two states that they putting our rights first.
Right.
You know
But
what
but
I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna tell you what's funny though, Rodney. You gotta read this case. I'll tell you, because man, it's gonna be fire when we discuss this. I'm gonna send this to you once we done shooting this show, man.
I saw the word vaccine. I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to read
yeah.
that, John.
But the part that deals with what Joe Biden said is right here. And it says, but the liberty secured by the Constitution of the United States to every person, so that would be all of us citizens, right, within its jurisdiction, does not import an absolute right in each person to be, at all times and in all circumstances, wholly freed from restraints. There are manifold restraints to which every person is necessarily subject for the common good. On any other basis, organized society could not exist with safety to its members. Society based on the rule that each one is a law unto himself will soon be confronted with disorder and anarchy. Real liberty for all cannot exist under the operation of a principle which recognizes the right of each individual person to use his own, whether in respect of his person or property, regardless of the injury that may be done to others. This court has more than once recognized it as a fundamental principle that, in quotes, persons and property are subject to all kinds of restraints and burdens in order to secure the general comfort, health, and prosperity of the state, of the perfect right of the legislature to do which no question ever was or upon acknowledged general principles ever can be made so far as natural persons are concerned. Now, what you think about that, Rodney?
Yeah. So pretty much what they're saying is that even though you have rights protected under the Constitution, that they can infringe on if it's for the good of everybody, which is democracy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you have to go a little deeper than that, because what he's saying, what the case is saying, is absolutely true. But at the same time, if the conditions upon which our legal liberties are trying to be restrained are actually implemented by those trying to restrain our rights, that's the issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in other words, if they causing a problem, and then they let the problem run and then try to come back with the remedy. You know what I'm saying? So they're causing the problem, and then they're trying to come back with a remedy, and that remedy is infringing on our rights. You know, if it was organic, something that organically happened, then I think you make an infringe for the welfare of everyone, which they'd probably be talking about the vaccines as well. They're saying if you everybody vaccines for the betterment of everybody, which scientifically is they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Right. So they don't mention that everybody is born with a vaccine called their immune system, and go through the processes and steps of how to upgrade and enhance your own vaccine, which is your immune system, to make you immune from nearly anything. So they're not talking about that. They're talking about some man-made shit that they're trying to pump into you from the problem by which they caused. So although I agree with what they're saying, because it's absolutely right, it's on point. But if you go deeper, you know what I'm saying, we'll be talking about the rights of guns, because I don't think it's talking about guns. It's just talking about being absolute. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that many of us think that this gun shit is an overall scheme, you know what I'm saying, to remove those protections of bearing arms from the citizens. So that way it'd be a completely police state, to where, you know what I'm saying, because to me, the Second Amendment, as it was written, it was for the people to protect themselves against an unruly, a corrupt government. You know what I'm saying? So in other words,
Agreed.
The government is not supposed to be able to outgun the people that they're supposed to serve, because corruption over time will seep in, which is what we've seen. From the time the Constitution was created for the Second Amendment, everything was following the Constitution. All the politicians, all three branches of government, even though they were racist or whatever, but they were for the betterment of the people. Over time, from 1700 to 2000, corruption had crept in. So now, the spirit of the Second Amendment, they're trying to take it away to say, well, we're gonna take away the guns because y'all killing each other. You know what I'm saying? Despite why we're killing each other, despite the circumstances that's set up that make people killing each other, they're trying to kill each other while the police state can harbor all these weapons and but taking it all from the people to where when the people finally wake up and say, hey, what the hell y'all doing? It'll be too late.
Well, let me say this, right, because I want to come back to what you just said right there. That what you just ended with, as far as like the intention to take guns from all the people. Because in my opinion, like this entire whole gun reform thing that Joe Biden and the far left is talking about, I do believe their long-term goal is to disarm the American people. I do believe that. Now, what he's saying, now again, what he said, I didn't like what he said as far as the rights of the Constitution, like our rights in the amendments in the Constitution are not absolute. But I'm like, I mean, it's case law support what he's saying. I didn't like it. I didn't like how it sounded, but he's actually right in what he said. Like right here, and it says, I'm gonna read this part again, Rodney. It says, but the liberty secured by the Constitution of the United States to every person within its jurisdiction, and that would include the Second Amendment, does not import an absolute right in each person to be, at all times and in all circumstances, wholly freed from restraint. Now, another example would be like the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Now, we've covered this in previous shows, how you have how we all have freedom of speech under the First Amendment, but there are, I believe it was six different categories of speech that aren't considered free speech. Now, one of them would be like if you was to run inside of a let's say a movie theater and holler, you know, it's a fire, although it's really not a fire. That's not freedom of speech. Now, I forgot exactly what the Supreme Court calls that, because they have a categorization for what they consider that to be, but that's not free speech. You get what I'm saying, Rodney?
Right.
So there are restraints, and it makes sense what the court is saying right here. It has to be.
Well,
however,
I can just use the Second Amendment itself, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna go right to it so I won't mix the words up. What's that Jones say? It's the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, right?
Right.
So this case law wouldn't infringe. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But it doesn't say how to bear arms, right? So in other words, from a 38 to an AR-15.
Right.
A 38 or 22, which is one of the lowest guns, an AR-15 is like a cannon, or a pump shotgun, it's like a cannon, and all the guns in between. So it's from a little small 22, you ban arms, all the way up to a military style AR-15 weapon, you still ban arms.
That's semi-automatic, not automatic.
Semi-automatic, or whatever it is, right? Yeah. It's a joint. You squeeze the trigger, bullets come out, and people can die. Right. So it doesn't matter what type, name, brand, caliber, stuff like that. If it's from a 22, you can pull a trigger and kill somebody, versus to the biggest, whether it's manual, semi-automatic, super automatic, all those is all part of, is like breaking it down. But from the bear arms, you can bear arms with 22, right? Yes. So they can say anything after 22, you can't use it, and they won't be violating the Constitution.
That you're 100% correct, and that's why I have to agree with what Joe Biden said when he said that the amendments in the Constitution are not absolute. Like, it makes sense if people can just look past how it sounded. It didn't sound good, but it does make sense, and that's what the court is breaking down right here. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, right? If all the people have to have 22s, the police cannot have nothing more than 22. That's my point with the spirit.
No, I agree. I agree.
Of how those Federalist Papers was written. Yeah, so
I
all
agree,
of us have to be limited to 22s. All of them have to be limited to 22s. If we can't have our AR-15s, which I don't believe anybody really need, the police ought not have them.
Right. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So therefore, those type of weapons should be banned from the United States as a whole, period. Right. From the police side and from the citizen, that makes it equal. But
I agree.
The fact that I know that his motive is trying to keep the police super armed with the AR-15s and reduce it down to 22,
the public, not the people. Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree. Because I want to go somewhere with that, Rodney. I agree, because I'm like this. Laws are put in place, right? Like contracts to keep honest people honest, right? We know this because a criminal is not going to follow the law no matter what. They don't care what the law say. They're not going to follow it. It's just like an outlaw. An outlaw ain't going to follow the law. They're not even going to follow the laws of the streets. An outlaw just does what an outlaw would do. Exactly. Because at least criminals, right, especially organized crime, still follow some type of laws. It's just they might not follow the laws of the government, right, but they follow their own unwritten laws. You know what I'm saying, Rodney?
Some people call them code.
Exactly, codes of the streets. But where I'm getting at is this: is that I agree with his statement, right, that no amendment in the Constitution, right, is absolute. We can agree to that. But like you said, and we in agreement that is what he's doing with these six executive orders is not in good faith, meaning that I don't believe, or we don't believe, that his intentions is to equalize it amongst the people and the police. They want to disarm the people. That's the problem, right? Now, I want to go somewhere with this, Rodney. Right. I want to go somewhere with this. Now, I pulled this up from NIH, right? Now, this is the government website, y'all. NIH, right? The National Institute of Health. Now, where I'm getting at is this: criminals don't follow laws. They keep on talking about gun violence, right? Now, on average, citizens that buy their guns legally tend not to just go out here and mass shoot and kill people. I'm dealing with statistics now. Statistically, criminals kill each other at an alarming rate in comparison to people that went and bought their arms legitimately. Now, I want to read this part real quick, Rodney. Now, it says bridging the response to mass shootings in urban violence. And then it says exposure to violence in New Haven, Connecticut. All right, so this is a report that was put out by NIH. And you have all these PhDs on this, y'all. Now, I'm going to skip down because it's 3 paragraphs that I really want to deal with. And the 3 paragraphs are right here. It says gun violence is one of the most pressing public health issues of our time. It has galvanized the nation's attention since the 1999 Columbine High School shooting, which was followed by many other mass shootings, including the most recent shooting in Orlando, Florida, which was June the 16th, and Dallas, Texas, in July the 16th. It says in 2015, there were 332 mass shootings, defined as shootings in which 4 or more people are killed with firearms at one time. Although the media focuses on mass shootings, 88 Americans die every day from gunshot wounds as a result of suicide or homicide. Gun violence consistently ranked as a top 5 leading cause of death for those aged 1 to 44 years. More than 30,000 people die from a firearm-related injury in the United States annually, accounting for 1 in 6 injury deaths. Now, right here, the 3rd paragraph to me is really where I'm getting at. It's the crux of where I'm getting at. It says gun violence disproportionately occurs in communities experiencing social and economic inequalities. Now, this is what you were saying earlier, Rodney. This is what you was alluding to or implying.
Yeah.
Now, it says including residential, racial segregation, and concentrated poverty. It says in 2015, 369 people died in mass shootings in the United States. That same year, nearly 6,000 black men were murdered with guns. Although black men make up only 6% of the population, they represent more than 1/2 of gun homicide victims. Now, we know this to be true even today, 6 years later. We know this to be true.
Yeah.
And where I'm getting at is this: most of these brothers that's out here, right, that are killing each other, they're killing each other with illegal arms. That's where I'm getting at. They're not following the laws anyways. So my whole point is this: laws are put in place to keep honest people honest. Because if a person is a criminal or an outlaw, they're not going to follow the law anyways. That's my point. So in essence, what these executive orders are doing, it's not going to curb gun violence. No. What it's going to do is just disarm the American people. That's the point I'm trying to get at. That's all it's going to do.
Yeah.
Because we got to deal with the root. And see, the media don't like to really talk about the black on black killings. They don't, you know what I'm saying, right? They don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
They act as if this is normal and this is just what it is and how it's supposed to be. Now, they'll talk about mass shootings. They'll talk about that. But they don't want to talk about black on black killings. Because guess what?
Yeah. That's a
Nobody
hell of a
cares.
statistic.
That's why. Nobody
That's a
cares.
hell of a statistic. To as 369 people died in mass shooting versus 6,000. I mean, but yet they're not trying to attack what's going on in the black community.
And guess what, Rodney? See, I wanted to go somewhere with that because I want to prove everything you said even more, that Joe Biden and his administration are not working in good faith to fix any type of situation dealing with gun violence or this international embarrassment that they called it, right? This is where I'm getting at. Now I want to play a clip for everybody, all right?
And another thing, before you play that, how they magnify that 369 mass shooting, but you don't hear about the 6,000. You know, they don't consider that to be a issue, because really making gun laws won't stop the killing unless you change the conditions of those
the
communities.
people. Exactly.
You know, the people also need to take pride in their own communities and changing themselves, but we don't like it's not equity there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In order to provide a path to reduce these killings. You know, you reduce the killings by giving people something to do. You won't have time to kill if you're doing something else. You know what I'm saying? And they may be killing over money. You know, so if we had programs and processes and stuff to where people, black men, can make money, take care of their family, take care of their children that they make, it wouldn't be all this gun violence and shit. So all this stuff to me is this plan. It's like the pandemic. You know, everything is like a plan, and we're just the result of it. But they feed us with this misinformation, the miseducation, and the ignorance that we have with the media pouring on all this bullshit. It have us believing that the executive orders are going to do something, and they're not going to do anything but disarm the people, as you say. They're doing nothing to help the you know, what the guns are really. The guns are damaging our community more so than anybody else.
Exactly. And see, my thing is this embarrassment, this national or international embarrassment Joe Biden is talking about, right? It's not really the mass shootings. To me, it's all of the shootings together, combined, right? But guess what? Most of the shootings is black on black crimes. Is our men killing each other. Now, the solution to it, right? This is the solution that I pose, right? And I'm sure you agree with this too, Rodney. I'm gonna play this clip. Now, this clip is from Larry Elders, all right? From Larry Elders. Now, fair use.
The number one problem facing the black community is the lack of fathers in the home. 70% of black kids are raised without fathers. And forget about elder. Barack Obama said a kid raised without a father is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to end up in jail. Now the question is, why have we gone from 25% of black kids born outside of wedlock in 1965 to 70% today? And the answer is, it's the welfare state. The welfare state is incentivizing women to marry the government and allowing men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. And
now, I want to stop right there, Rodney, because again, these are policies that were put in place by government. Now, to be specific, these were Democratic policies. The Democrats put the welfare, or the Democrats are the ones that established the welfare state, is the point. And Joe Biden is a Democrat. And like you said, Rodney, our government has caused the problem. They caused the problem. Yeah. And their solution is to disarm the American people, man, because of the problem that they created through the welfare state in the black community.
And to go deeper into what this brother is talking about with the black fathers are not in the home, and the and providing the sisters to marry the government, right? They took it a step further. So not only did they allow the sisters to marry the government through the welfare system, they allow, because now that that there's more black women head of the household, they're making more money, they really have more opportunities than the black man. And the reason why is because they know that they can go back and breed with the black women once the black woman really is completely fed up with the black man and really written them off. You know what I'm saying? That's why you go through for all these years, they've been saying, can't find no good black man, can't find no good black man, can't find no good black man. They dead, locked up or taken, can't find no good black man. They're not doing this, they're not doing that, despite the conditions that were laid out for us. You know what I'm saying? We don't act the way we act, some of the black men, by accident. You know, this shit was intentional. It was a well-planned, thought out plan that took decades. It didn't happen overnight. We're only seeing the ultimate results right now, which is not even completed, because what they're going to is they put the woman ahead of the black man financially, but they're still not ahead of the white man. So therefore, the black woman crying and complaining that there's no black men. What else is left for them but the white man? You know what I'm saying? So they know scientifically that they can't survive. You know what I'm saying? If we go into any of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's reading, it's annihilation scientifically. They can't survive. The only way they can survive is to be melanated. They don't want their women melanating with the man, so they can put the woman above the black man, reduce the black man down to nothing, have the white men marry the women. That's why if you watch every commercial, it's a mixed goddamn white and black. If you look at that, I just seen it yesterday. There's a Peyton Manning commercial with him and the guy, and they got this little fake community that they're standing over. As soon as they flash the camera on that fake community, you see a white man and a black woman. You know, and these are just like little Play-Doh men. So they're putting this image of the mixing of the culture, but what they're doing, they're as they're wiping out like the strong black family, they're incorporating this new family with a strong black woman, but she's not financially stronger than the white man. So they're gonna see the white man as their equal. You know what I'm saying? And look all the way down on the black man. So that way, when they start to create the new babies, right? These melanated babies, they're gonna have the ideology of looking at the black man as we are today, as if they're nothing. So what they're doing, they're creating a new system of species. You know what I'm saying? Because these white folks were mutated from us. So they're creating a new species with the black woman on top and the white man on top on commercial. And then once they make the babies, it's going to have a new set of brown babies with the ideology of the system of racism and white supremacy. These crackers are thorough. You know what I'm saying? If you really understand what they're doing based on history and the laws.
Well, let me say this, Rodney. Maybe that's what that whole that whole initiative by Goldman Sachs to invest $10 billion into black women over the next decade. Maybe that's what that's about. Exactly what you just explained.
That is what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing anything for black people, for black men. You know, there's nothing, there's no programs out here for the black man.
Exactly.
Period. There's none. You know what I'm saying? They got it for the black women, and they're taking their children that's been raised out of wedlock, that's been totally confused. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, if they know or feel as though that the black man is not doing their job, just what he just said, for them to abandon their moral and financial obligations, and we as black men took that route because, like electricity, we took the least path of resistance. So we accepted that route of being able to sneak back into the home, just to sleep with the women, but have to be out in the morning whenever the social worker come. So all this is like a plan. We kind of fed into it, and they fed into it, and this is the result of that of that whole system playing out. It's like it's like written on the wall in like big bright letters, but we're so confused keeping up with the Kardashians and tweeting and twatting and keeping up. See how many people like you and see how many people follow you, that we don't really see how this whole thing is playing out. And you can even look at the pandemic. The whole market stopped, right? If you look at the market, right, how the market just completely dropped, right? When everybody was staying in the house, the market completely dropped. But then when they started easing the restrictions, it kind of went back up. So that's, people ought to realize that we are the commerce. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So now, how are they making all this money with so many people not working, unemployed, not doing this, but stock market soaring through the goddamn roof? Real estate prices going through the goddamn roof, but people not working, people not doing this. What the hell is going on? They're giving away all this money with the government. They're giving away all this money with the government, letting you know what.
Now I'm gonna tell you what's funny about what you said, Rodney. I actually seen a video. I think it was put out by CNBC, if I'm not mistaken, and they said that Rolls Royce had a record year last year. They sold more Rolls Royces, if I'm not mistaken, last year than they ever sold in 1 year. Now this is. Now this is during the pandemic.
It's wild. Man, this joint is crazy, and it goes back to, it's like you see those movies where like see people are just super duper rich or they super duper poor. It's like the middle class is just so far expanding, but what they're doing with all this stimulus stuff, they're giving a false illusion that it's going to be okay one day. I'm gonna give you the illusion it's gonna be okay one day, but only the rich is getting richer, the poor is getting poor with a little stipend, a little what you call a kickstand, which is made out of paper. Right. You know what I'm saying? So when that kickstand break, we're gonna see where everything, because they can't sustain giving away all this money. They can't sustain it. So if people are getting the stimulus checks, these PPP loans, and all these other loans, if they're not doing something with this money is positive to help them out, because the jobs that are being lost, you know, so like my wife, she loves staying in the house teaching from home. You know what I'm saying? So if they're really cutting all this kind of stuff out, this is like a little test trial. You know what I'm saying? This is all part of the plan for like the test trial. And how can Rolls Royce sell? Who are they selling these Rolls Royces to?
Yeah, matter of fact, I could have sworn I seen that, man. I'll tell you, Rodney, I bust out laughing, man. I think they had a record year last year, you know, and I mean, man, it's ridiculous. And my thing is this, again, I'm not saying, I kind of want to go back to what I was saying earlier, Rodney. I'm not saying that the Republicans did not play a part in what let me say the destruction of the black family. I'm not saying that, because I don't want people to confuse what I'm saying. But we know, we have bona fide evidence that the Democrats had, and they have done this for a long time, man. They have perpetuated the destruction of the black family, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make that clear, because again, Joe Biden is a Democrat. Black people vote for Democrat, or should I say they vote for the Democratic Party at a 92% block. Joe Biden won the black vote at a 92% block, man. 92% block. The same party that has had that, the same party of slavery, the same party of Jim Crow, and then allegedly switched after Jim Crow, right? Allegedly, you know, they switched and the Republicans became the party of the Dixiecrats, and you know, they say that the Democrats, you know, that the Republicans are now the new Dixiecrat. You get what I'm saying, Rodney?
Right.
But yet still, they implemented the welfare state that annihilated the black family in ways that slavery and Jim Crow didn't even do. These are all Democrat policies, man. I just want to point that out. And again, here we go with Joe Biden, right, giving half information. And right here, I just highlighted what he said. Let him say it. He said, let me say it again. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic, right? Yes, it is. Now, it's mainly an epidemic amongst black men. Let's call it what it is. But he won't say that. He said it's an international embarrassment. Like you said, Rodney, and I think it's clear, they don't give a damn what his black men do. So black men, you better wake up. You know, we need each other. We gotta stop this madness.
Yeah, it's just like
nobody give a damn about us killing ourselves. They don't.
It's just like what Khalid Muhammad said. Black man, you're on your own. You don't have any friends. You know, and nobody's gonna help you but you.
Exactly.
So we only have each other. A lot of us are confused, and it's rough, right? It's sad. It's really sad how we just. Oh yeah, it's sad. Man, it's crazy.
It really is, Rodney. And I think we should finish this out looking at this homicide map again, because again, it was a month ago. It was a little bit over a month. We were at 88 murders in the DMV. Now here we go. A month and a half later, we're at 115. 115, y'all. Now look at this map. Most of it is on the black side of town. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying, Rodney? And then
yeah.
the red dots, like right here, like these red dots, is where 10 or more homicides happen.
You go
So
up to
we
that
had,
little red dot all the way up top. It's like it's in Montgomery County somewhere. It's way, yeah. What's that? Where that John at?
let me zoom in. You right. That is,
Out there in Laurel somewhere.
it looks like yeah, it looked like it's probably Laurel. Wow. Yep. Ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I see Columbia Pike. So that's out there by Laurel. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a little hoodie up there too.
And then right there, that's your hood right there, Rodney. Seat Pleasant.
Yeah, see, play. Yeah, they don't play around there.
The Seat Pleasant. And then right here, now that's the Highlands, but I mean, you might as well say it's Glass Manor. You know,
Yeah.
it's generally the same area,
Yeah,
you know. And these again are black people killing black people. You know, I even find it strange that this map doesn't even list race. If you notice, it lists, you know, murders by jurisdiction. It lists the manner of death, the age, the sex, but it don't say nothing about race, man. I swear, man. I swear, Rodney. I swear, man. Nobody wants to deal with this. They don't want to talk about it because the end goal is for us to annihilate ourselves. I swear, this is why nobody really wants to deal with it. The only people that would talk about it is people like us, Judge Joe Brown, Thomas Sowell, Larry Elder. You see what I'm saying? It's only select people that would talk about this. Even Tommy Sotomayor. Shout out to Tommy Sotomayor, man. He talked about stuff like this. But most people, man, they don't want to touch this. They don't.
Yeah. It's like the big elephant in the room, and they're just ignoring it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because that statistic that you read with the amount of people that died in mass shootings versus like Chicago and all the other black people around the country that are being murdered by the gun. It's crazy.
It is. It is. I tell you, hey, all of y'all, I think this was a hot show. You know, please, you know, please drop a comment inside of the comment section. Let us know what y'all think about what we're discussing in this particular episode. I think this was hot, Rodney. You know what I'm saying?
Likewise, as usual, trying to wake up the sleeping giant.
Exactly. You know, please share, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.